you're looking to buy a home right now, anywhere in the Greater Toronto area, being Toronto, Peel, Durham, or York, you're more than likely seeing price tags well in excess of $1 million. Even townhomes in these areas are going for over that magic 7-figure mark. How much money do you need in hand to actually buy one of these $1 million properties? Stick with me to find out. Hey everybody, it's Rob Marsiglio here from the Robert Marsiglio Realty Group at Keller Williams Referred. And today I'm here to talk to you about how much money you need in hand to buy that $1 million property you have your eyes on. So before we get started with the video, I'd ask that, if you're enjoying the content so far, you click below on that subscribe button so you don't miss an update. And if you like the content of this video, please hit that like button and feel free to share with a friend. That $1 million price point seems to be entry these days, and I think this is some valuable information for them. Now you may be saying to yourself, Rob, it's $1 million house. I need $1 million to buy it. Even if you did have $1 million in cash, there are going to be some fees on closing that you need to pay on top of that $1 million. Why we like real estate though is because it's called a leverage investment. You put down a little bit of your money, you take some money from a lender, like a bank, and they will fund the rest of that purchase for you. So we're here to walk you through the actual minimum amount of money you need to afford that $1 million home. Let's start off with the down payment. Now, a down payment on a $1 million home anywhere in the GTA is going to require 20% down. So 20% of $1 million is $200,000. If you're going under that $1 million mark, you'll be paying 5% of the first $500,000 as a minimum, and then 10% on any amount above that $500,000. But as soon as you hit that $1 million mark, you need to have 20% down. The good news is you don't have to pay mortgage insurance at this point. What you would get is called an uninsured mortgage. So there we go. We have $200,000 set aside for our down payment. Now the closing process is actually handled by a lawyer in these cases. So what you're going to need to do is find somebody to represent your best interest. As soon as you have that firm deal in hand, you send it off to your lawyers, and they usually charge you about $1,500 to $3,000. So far, you've got your down payment of $200,000, and you've got your lawyer's fees of $1,500 to $3,000. So let's use $3,000 just to be aggressive. Now when you're buying a home, you also have to pay something called land transfer taxes. Ontario has a standard amount that you have to pay based on a sliding scale, but if you're buying in the city of Toronto, that amount is actually doubled. So let's look at an example. So let's look at a $1 million purchase price in the city of Toronto. Let's first assume we're not a first-time home buyer. Your provincial land transfer tax amount is $16,475, and your municipal or your Toronto land transfer tax is $16,475, for a grand total of $32,950. Let's assume you are a first-time home buyer. The provincial government's going to give you a rebate up to a maximum of $4,000, and the municipal land transfer tax will give you a rebate up to a maximum of $4,475, meaning you would get this much money as a bit of a rebate, and you would only actually owe this much in land transfer tax, $24,475. What happens if you're buying outside of the city though, in a place like, let's say, Newmarket, Ontario? If we're not a first-time home buyer, you're just going to be paying that provincial land transfer tax amount of $16,475. If you are a first-time home buyer, you get $4,000 back, and you only pay $12,475. I say only, I know that's still a steep amount for people. So again, let's operate on our worst case scenario. The most you'd pay on that $1 million in land transfer taxes is $32,950. So let's tally up all our costs again. We have a down payment of $200,000, lawyer fees of roughly $3,000, and land transfer taxes of $32,950. On top of these items, there may be some other expenses. Off the top of my mind comes title insurance. That's going to be $400, and it's going to cover you to make sure that if there's anything wrong with title of the property you are buying, you're still covered and it can close freely. A lot of lawyers will heavily suggest that you get title insurance. Now, unless you have a big family of strong cousins, you probably are going to have to pay some movers as well, and let's ballpark about $2,000 for those movers. Let's say the owners of the property you're buying have already prepaid some utility bills or taxes. You're going to have to factor that into your calculation as well, and that will all be calculated by your lawyer and paid directly to them to transfer to the sellers on closing. Let's budget another $2,000 for that. Before even closing, you may want to get that home inspected. I would budget around $500 for this, as that's kind of the most expensive I've seen for a home inspection in the GTA. You're also going to have some incidentals like utility hookup fees, tax transfers, things along these lines. Let's budget another $1,000 all in for that. So for that $1 million purchase, you're going to need $200,000 as a down payment. Roughly $33,000 for land transfer taxes if we're buying in the city of Toronto. $500 for home inspection. $2,000 for lawyer's fees. Another $2,000 for any prepaid utilities by the sellers. $400 for title insurance. $2,000 for a mover. And let's say another $1,000 for any utility transfers or fees owed to the town you're moving to. Tally that all up, you're looking at $240,900. To be safe, let's round that up to $245,000. So there's your answer. To afford that $1 million home in the city of Toronto, you're going to need roughly $245,000. If you're moving outside of the city, you can reduce that fee by about $16,000 to, let's call it $230,000. I hope this video is going to be a great help to you starting out on your path to home ownership, looking at that $1 million price point, help you get your budget in order. Again, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button and make sure to share it with a friend who's going through the home buying process right now. It always helps to know what you're up against financially before diving into this stuff. I'll see you back here next time for another tip to help you out on your home buying journey. Cheers.